Hello people and welcome to this new video. My name is Andre and today we're going to see a tutorial about making some dialogues. This was requested by some friends on internet and I'm making it just to show it inside. This is going to be a little bit complex, but it's not so complex. I think everyone can get on it. So what we need today is, here it is. What we need, there are 3 strings, dialog unifies, and any object, and player and npcs. Now what is going to happen is exactly this. These are stuff from my old game. Everything is drawn by hand, so and like you can see, when I go here I have this little sensor, red one here. This is one npc. I press space, for example, and like you can see, there's outline on my player, and here's the face. Hello guys, hello player, hello stupid. I'm not stupid, that's not funny, yes, and stuff like that. Now if I go again and no, you were really rude, Mandarin, but I was. No, you have to make your excuse to the player. Sorry, stupid, it wasn't nice. And Mandarin, don't worry. And it's working, no? I know there are some problems with the trigger, but I think you can get on it by yourself. Actually, there are only 29 lines here, and I'm just going to clone this frame and making a new one. Clone this one and making a new one. I'm going to basically delete everything. And I let only this stuff here. Now what is going to happen, I have here my 3 strings. These 3 things are this one, this and this. The first one is called dialog full, the second one is called alterated dialog, and the third one is the dialog blithering. And actually this stuff here, the game thing, the dialog box and the face box and the string box, the string dialog is going to be invisible at the start, so there will be visible only when the player starts a dialog. I have this sensor. This is going to be always set on the player, relative to the player, and I have the ini file. Now to make that, just go to your folder where you save your game MFA, and or your executable, I don't know how to call that, but the final game, I mean the ini file and the final game should be in the same folder. That's because we're going to use a string, a function that is called apppath, and that will find in the same folder the file we need. So after making, just to make a new file, you just need to make a new document and call this dialog, for example, and change the extension .ini, and it's going to be an ini file. You have to confirm it, and that's fine. I'm using to edit my ini file, notepad++. This cool, it's a cool free software, so just use it. Now the structure here is, like you can see, for example, these are 2 dialogues and they are about this character called biscuit. And biscuit structure, like you can see, I can close this and open. has each ini file, the dialog is structured in this way. We have the paragraph, paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, paragraph 4, 5, and 6. Like you can see, there's a number here. That number is to identify the paragraph we're showing on the game. And then equal sign, this because everything in inis works with equal. And the first letter is going to be the ID of our talker, yeah. For example, P is for the player, B is for the biscuit, and M is for Mandarin. Now I'm using only 3 NPCs, but you can use tons of them, and you can use more than a letter if you want, so that's fine. And then we have the actual paragraph. Hello guys, hello player, hello stupid, I'm not stupid, that's not funny. Yes, Mandarin, that's not funny. And the last one, like you can see in both of them, is empty without any letter or anything. That's because it's going to be our trigger to end the dialogue. Actually, to make things in a better way, you should use a number here, equal sign, and this number is for example the number of the paragraphs. For example, this time 6, this time 8. This way you should make things in a better way in order to change dialogues, but for this case I'm just using this way because it's easier. Now let's start making this thing, because I already made this 3 times, but I'm just making it this new time to make it in a better way. Now, like you can see, I have a simple movement here on the player, and it's the platformer movement. You can go to this one, and it's set according to the player position, always. So let's go to the dialog. Like you can see, if the sensor is going to interact, to overlap one of these two has, both of them have this qualifier here, the dialog qualifier. If they're going to, if the sensor is going to overlap the qualifier that is the dialog group, it is going to set the position of this stuff here active, that is just to make sure the player watch where the interactivity is according to the dialog group, and subtracting from its y coordinate 100 and npc, and then we're going to use this container here. Like you can see, in this container we have 2 alterable values and 2 alterable strings. So the first 2 ones are actual paragraph. It's going to be 1 by default, because P1, the dialog should start always on the P1. And the trigger, this one is going to be a trigger to prevent changing dialogues before the player actually read them. So then we have the alterable strings. This is the dialog ID and the phase. Now the dialog ID is going to be the name of the group we're going to retrieve, and this is going to be the same of the name of the NPC, for example, that in this case is NPC name is biscuit, in this case is going to be Mandarin. And dialog number, it's going to be actually this number here, dialog 1, dialog 2, and the dialog is in order to identify which one we're going to talk this time. Now what is going to happen is that we're going to set this value here, dialog ID, to the dialog NPC name plus dialog number. So to make that, like you can see, is just a set dialog ID to dialog name, npc dialog name plus string dialog number. String because this is just a value, so we need to convert that in string. And if it's not overlapping a group, it's going to set position to this thing there, and we're going to change this to 0 to nothing, to an empty string. So showing dialog. So if this is overlapping that, and insert a new object event, this is actually empty, invisible, and on the start of frame, obviously we change this 3 to null object, and invisible, and insert trigger is 0. Insert this new one, keyboard press space. We're going to show up things. We're going to make visible this box here, that is the dialog box. Make reappear. Now what is going to happen is that if we are overlapping this, it's going to be visible. Now an important thing is to set the ini file. So you have to go on start frame, like I have it here, set this ini file. So I'm just going to delete that and set again, set current ini file, and we're going to use this function app. This is actually app path $sign plus this thing too, and we're going to use d.ini because I use short things. I don't like long names and stuff like that. Now what is going to happen is that on the start frame it's going to load this ini file and reappear. Now what I'm going to do is that if this is visible, make this other stuff visible too. Make reappear and make reappear the dialog blade. If this is invisible instead, it's going to be invisible. So we can change that way. Now we have a cool thing, it's showing. And now what is going to happen is that we need to start our dialog. So to start the dialog, we need to retrieve data from this stuff here and set it to our dialog full. So it's going to be this way, change all the variable string, and we're going to retrieve our group and string. Our group name is going to be actually the value here, the string value here, dialog ID. Actually, we're not setting it in the correct way because this is empty at the moment, but we're going to set it in a better way. So this one instead is going to be the dialog number, the paragraph number, and it's going to be a p because we're using a p plus, and this is going to be a string because we're going to retrieve a number, so we have to convert it in a string, and plus string and retrieve dialog actual paragraph. Okay, and that's fine, it will start. And last but not least, we're going to set the trigger here, set the trigger to 1. This way we give to the player a little bit of time to repress the the spacebar. So what we're going to do now is to make the text blittering. So just copy this. Text blittering. Actually, I'm going to show you that everything works. This is the full dialog. P, hello guys, but we're not going to show the P, so we need to make that work. Text blittering, so the text blittering. Now we're going to set this alterable value always set the alterated dialog to alterated change alterated string to. Now we're going to retrieve the dollar $full, and I'm going to use the write function, retrieve this dialog alterable string, and the number of characters is going to be actually the length of the dialog full. So it's going to be the length of the dialog full, so just type lang or alterable string here, where are you, and it's going to be -1 because we don't need the P. So let's see if it's working. And hello guys without the P. That's working actually. Now we're going to compare two general values. These two general values are going to be if the blittering text, and it's going to be a len, because we need the length of this blittering text is different, lower, or lower than this other one, the length of this one alterable value. Every insert, every 8 milliseconds, we're going to set this dialog value here, the blittering text, change alterable blittering to length. Not actually, we're going to set the left one, or it was right, I don't remember, but we're going for the left one, and we're going to retrieve this alterable string here, number of length of this one string +1. Now I know this is a little bit complex because what we're going to use is this function left. The left function actually says that we're going to start taking text from the left, so we are going to start from the left, and we're going to set this alterable string, the dialog blittering, to left. Actually, this string that is the alterated dialog that doesn't have the P, so, and the length of this new string is going to be the alterated the dialog blittering +1. That's because the dialog blittering at start, it has always an empty container, so it's going to add always one letter every 8 milliseconds. So if we go here, it is going to say hello guys, and if we press again space, nothing is going to happen. That's because we need to add a new stuff here, and that's going to be the show and start dialog. This is going to be actually the, how is called this, changing paragraph. Okay, I know this is going to be a little bit tricky and complicated and long, but it works and that's fine. I know there's the object that's called tokenizer. It seems I don't remember that. So I'm just going to copy this one and changing stuff here. If trigger is 0 always, and this time this is visible, so this is visible and this two are equal. If everything of this is okay, we're going to just change value. So what I'm going to do is, hey, shut up. No. 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 Come on, go away. Shut. So what is going to happen now, we're going to always set the trigger to 1, and another stuff here is going to be that we're going to add to the dialog number here on the dialog container. Add to dialog container actual paragraph 1. And that's because, or did I add that? That's because we need to change value. And adding 1, it's going to be 2, and it's going to say this. The next time it's going to be 3, and so on. But we're going to change dialog only when length of the the two strings are equal. So alterated dialog and blithering string, if they have the same length, they're going to change. So what we're going is just add 1, and then we're going to set this one, set paragraph, no, set, change alterable string to an empty one. This because each time we need to restart the blithering. So being this an empty one, it is going to be to start this function here, that's the two lengths are different, and it's going to change the alterable string to the length and blah blah blah. Now I'm going to put the example file so you can watch it and download it. So don't worry about that if you don't understand everything right now. Now what we're going to do is to add a managing trigger. To manage the trigger is if the trigger here is greater than 0 every 20 milliseconds just subtract 1 from the trigger. 1 from the trigger, not the paragraph. And this is going to give us the trigger thing work again, because if it was 1, it's not going to work. So, and let's see. Hello guys, hello guys, hello guys. Something is missing, and we're going to find out what is missing. Oh yeah, this is missing. So we were missing this new thing, that is the paragraph. to set the paragraph to the thing there. So let's see again if it works. Hello guys, hello player, hello stupid. Haha, that's not funny. I'm not stupid. Okay, this one, yeah, Mandarin, that's not funny. Now, actually, it doesn't disappear if there's nothing here. So we're going to make a new stuff here to make that disappear. And we're going to call this closing dialog. And this closing dialog is based on the length of the full dialog. So we're going to make this thing compare again to general values. Is the length of this one equal to 0? Just close it, so just make invisible. Hello, blah blah blah. Okay, like you can see, now actually it's not going to work because we don't have stuff in the right way. Now what we're going to do is that when it makes it invisible, we're going to set the dialog paragraph here to 1. So if it works, I'm going to add a new event there. Actually, you can see that it starts always. So what we're going to do is now that we need a new stuff here. And the new stuff is to complete the dialog when it's still blittering. So see complete this is lower. Dialog blade is lower than the alternated dialog. And trigger is 0 and stuff like that. We're going to delete everything here and just set this one to the alternated string here. This way we're going just to set the same length up. It is working, but we need to set our trigger again, set trigger to 1. And here we have to set our trigger to set trigger to 1. Now you can see that I can complete everything in a very fast way. I don't know what's Amazon stuff. So again, talking and walking. No. Quello che hai comprato tu. Okay. Well, guys, this is. And last but not least, what we need now is to change the. We need to change the actual dialogue because it's going to be always the same. So we need to change that. So we can see here. Hello, hello, stupid. Haha, I'm not stupid. That's not funny. If we go, it's going to say always the same. So we don't need that. We need to change the dialog line. So what I'm going to do is just make this here. Closing dialogues. Yes, that's fine. Closing dialogues. Changing dialog. Okay. Now I'm going to do this thing here. If the length is equal and blah blah blah. This is visible. And what else? I'm going to add insert only once when it's running. Actually, this is overlapping that one because we need that one, that thing. And obviously, if this is visible, just ignore that in your controls. Restore control. So this is going to give us the fact that we can't move at the moment, and now we can move again. That's fine. Now, actually, I don't remember how I made the stuff on the other frame, but that's fine. I think it's going to work well in the same time, in the same way, probably. Now, what I'm going to do here is just changing dialog. And to change the dialog here, I'm going to add one to the alterated here. Add one to dialog number. So let's see if it works actually. Hello guys, hello player, hello stupid. Yes. Now if I go here, hello guys, hello player, there's something that's wrong. And I don't know why. Probably I should put this before the closing dialog. Because that close the dialog. No, 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 you were rude, Mandarin, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's working, so it was just a matter of the place where I put it, because always it's going to make everything in this order, so this works fine enough. And last but not least, we're going to change the faces. So, see, we change faces. What we're going to do here is just an always event, always, and we're going to set this alterable string here. Yep, dialog ID no face relative to the left of this string alterable string here, and the number of characters is going to be 1 because we need only the first letter. So now we're going just to compare this value here with our letters. So compare value alterable string, the face with P. I'm going to copy this one 3 times. B, biscuit, and mandarin here. And last but not least, I'm going to duplicate this stuff here. Not this way. And this way, I'm just going to make that if these are different, and different. Okay, now we need this one, the equal ones, we need to put the face. So we're going to be that if it's equal to the player, to the P, so we're going to change the frame to 0. We're going to change the frame to 1 if it's B, and we're going to change the frame to 2 if it's M. So if we go here, it's working quite well, and stuff like that. And now, last but not least, we're going to add some we're going to add some new stuff here. And the new stuff is going to be that we're going to outline our player and our NPCs. So to outline that, we're going to set the effect, going to others. This is probably the luckiest one, dual glow, and we're going to take that. Now actually we need to set the parameter, set effect parameter here, and this is going to be a long list because we need to set all the stuff. So I'm going to start with the outer color, and this outer color is going to be get RBG and 255.215.0. This should work. No, this doesn't work. I don't know if no, that's because it's not RBG but it's RGB probably. Yeah, it was RGB and it needed not the points there. So, okay. And now I'm going to copy this, and this is going to be the inner color here. That's fine. I'm going to use the same color. And now copy and clone this. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of this. So we're going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to be the outer radius. And this is going to be 3. Outer exponent is going to be 2. And outer alpha is going to be 1. Inner radius is going to be 5, and the inner exponent, and it's going to be just 2. Okay, now what I'm going to do is to copy this for each one just by setting this way, and if they're not if it's different, I'm just going to change the effect, set the effect to none, because if it's different, we don't need this. Okay, now this should work fine, because like you can see here, if I go here, the player is talking, then it's talking the other biscuit there, and stuff like that. Now, this is all the tutorial. I think it's been a long tutorial, sorry for that. I can't explain in a better way. I'm going to leave the files down down the in the description so you can download it and use it. So that's fine, and see you next time with the next videos. Bye guys.